Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How is everybody? Just been messing about on the computer there. Right, I have got Dale in with me. He's not on camera at the moment. He's got a couple of few problems with these cameras at the moment, which he is busy fixing. So who have we got? Oh, hi Anna.
I'm making
I know
tea.
Dale's here. Hi Nick. Hi Tings. So I'll just get set up and then we'll get on and do what I'm going to do.
What do we have today, young Wayne?
Camera. Better let you see what I'm going to be doing. There we are. So I've got a piece of ash on the lathe. It's around about 5.5 inches square, just under 2 inches deep. And what I'm going to be doing is a square dish. This is actually quite thick for what I'm wanting to do. So I am going to be putting a foot on this to take out the thickness somewhat. It's going to be a dish shape. It's going to be coloured. It's going to have some texturing on there, and it's probably going to have some gold leaf as well. So that's what we're going to be up to. So just make sure everything is missing. Make sure I'm tightened down properly so it doesn't fly off and go through the garage door or whatever, the workshop door, I should say.
Off into the distance.
Right, let's get that.
Showing the road.
Turn that down just a little bit. That's better. So we're turning at around about 1150. Obviously, I'm not going to be circling this off because it is staying square. So I am going to be cutting from the inside here towards the outside. I'm not going to cut in from the edge, and I'll see if I can explain that with this bunch of cable ties. Okay, as you can see on the blank here, the grain is running across that way. So the grain is running like that, as you can see on the cable ties there. If I put it that way, it'll be easier. Now, if I'm turning from the center of the bowl outwards, I'm actually pushing down on these strands, because this is what basically what a piece of wood looks like. If I go in from the end, I'm actually pushing right into the end grain, and I'm going to get a lot of tear out. I may well have to do that when I'm turning the dish part on the inside, but we'll overcome that problem when we get to it. So I'm just going to start shaping the dish. I will be putting the foot on, so I'll be putting the tenon on the foot, and I'll turn part of that off at the end. So here we go.
A quick read through who's out in the chat. Chris Cock, Nick Jews, Nick Flaming Turner, Sharon, Fingers, Killing My Time. I apologise, Killing My Time, I don't know your first name. We've got John, PDH. We have Joy, I said really James Cassidy's in.
Good afternoon,
I think that's,
everybody. Nice to see
and you have 25 watching.
Grand.
I always find it quite scary when I'm turning square things.
Well, yeah, it can be.
I don't turn a huge amount, to be fair. Square things, but it's not the point. When I do, you go, oh, this is going to hurt me. Pay attention, people. This is going to be painful. Oh!
Yeah, it can definitely be painful.
Oh, of course, and the ever lovely Anna B. Apologies, Anna.
keep on checking just to see how you're going.
Here in the workshop, just boiled my kettle in the workshop, and I'm making a cup of tea. Isn't this the most civilized thing in the world? It's only missing some Jaffa cakes.
You've not run out, have you?
I have 2 shipments on the way. One going to our good friend Scott, the blue-eyed turner. He may need some help eating it. It's such a big shipment. Tom Cox is in the chat, all the way from the US.
Tom.
Chris Cox tells us that his wife is parking. No, sorry, his wife has parking in the oven. Is that a new euphemism or something, or have I missed that one there? Or is he still talking about the
kids? Emma last week on her live baked a parking and then turned the plate to put it on.
That's pretty cool. It's up there, isn't it? It's pretty cool. John tells me he can even hear me turning the cup, stirring the cup.
Right, going on to my small bowl gouge, and I'll start doing the tenon. Move that tail stock out of the way. I'm sure to bash my elbow.
McJews informs us he has wine gums. He also says that parking gets mentioned on every live now.
Yeah, Emma put the
Christine and Michael. Sorry.
Hi, Christine, Michael. Emma put a post up yesterday on Facebook with the recipe. So I've got that saved.
Christine, yes, I'm feeling better. Thank you so much. Really Ill 99 is saying he's chomping on bacon sarnies.
Very nice.
Lucky.
Just dish the bottom a little bit. This is just so in case I decide to take the whole tenon off the bottom at the end. I've got somewhere to put the tailstock.
King's asking a question. Would it be possible for Wayne to let us know what grind he has on the tool he's using, please?
Right. This grind is a 45-45 and it's a bit swept back. Not too much. Let's just see where I'm going there. I've still got a fair bit of meat there. that's looking not too bad. Move the tailstock in a bit further. Make sure everything's missing.
Richard Stelling's in the chat.
Afternoon, Rich.
And so is Martin Dickinson.
Hi, Martin. And I'll just do one final cut on there. There we are. That's the bottom finished. Get some sanding done. So again, if you are doing any power sanding and you have like on a square edge bowl, anything like this, never go in like that because you're just going to rip the pad. Either go in straight up and down or just on the edge at the bottom.
Sorry.
How are you fine?
I meant to close the mic here. Okay, so John PBH asked me a question. Sorry, Wayne, still in. And could you describe where the other 45 comes in when you get a moment?
Yeah, I will certainly do that. I'll show that on my half-inch gouge. It's easier showing it on the half-inch gouge. Just let me get my angle finder here. Get that set properly. Right. Let's just go onto the overhead. Right. So if you can see, that from the bottom of the gouge going up the cutting edge, that's 45 degrees. And then if I turn it round and put the flat in the flute of the gouge, so going down the bevel, from the flute of the gouge going down the bevel, that is also 45 degrees. So that's what I mean by the 45 degree angle. Did I explain that okay?
Tom Wilcox is in the chat.
Hey, Tom. So did anybody see the end result of the charity quiz last night, or how much they raised? They raised a staggering £1,369.
Cool.
Which I thought was absolutely brilliant. So that was a mixture of the super chats going into Martin's channel and donations on Phil's fundraising page on Facebook. That's it sanded to 240.
Young Martin's asking a question. Wayne, what sharpening system do you use?
I use the Pro Edge, the Sobe Pro Edge. I use, and I use I think it's the 80 grit. I use the 80 grit if I am reshaping any of the gouges, and I use a 120 grit for all of the sharpening. You can go 240, 400 or whatever. What's his name? Jeff Hornung explained this brilliantly the other night on his live when he was talking about sharpening. If you use a 120, you'll get your tool sharp. If you use a 400, the tool will be just as sharp, but the edge won't last as long. You can look at it that way, which is why I don't tend to go above 120. 120 is fine enough. He also said as well that a lot of people worry about losing the temper, not their temper, but losing the temper on the gouge. With the state of high-speed steels that we have these days and the amount of heat that is produced either by a CBN wheel, aluminium oxide wheel, aluminium oxide belt, ceramic belt, anything like that, you don't produce enough heat to lose the temper on modern high-speed steel tools.
Baz is in the chat.
Hi, Baz. Just give that a quick wipe off.
35 watching.
Very good. Now I am going to use Yorkshire grit on this. You've got to be very careful using any sort of thing that needs to be obviously rubbed in while the lathe is going, especially if it's got square edges.
Yeah. Young Barry is being particularly unkind to us both by saying he's now got a day off and he's having his English breakfast on the barbecue.
Well, I hope he's sitting on the barbecue bloody cabinet then.
Yeah, I don't know. Barry, we love you, but at the same time we hate you.
No need whatsoever.
Yeah, no need for that kind of talk at this time of day. Question from Tom Wilcox. Has Wayne ever made a miniature cowboy, I think it's hat, or even a full-size one?
Not yet, but I would love to. The thing, right, I could quite easily do a full-size cowboy hat because I have got the big VB to do it on. But to do a full-size cowboy hat, you need a blank, which is, I'd say you're better off starting with something about 20 inches diameter and probably 10 inches deep to do a full-size hat. Obviously, miniature hats, they don't have to be that big. If anybody, I'm sure I've mentioned them before, if anybody has ever had the chance to watch Andrew Hall, now Andrew is a turner from over in the northeast of England, produces some brilliant work, including the likes of Corinthian style battle helmets and things like this. Also hats as well. Also guitars as well. He makes his own guitars as well. And usually at live demos, he finishes off the live demo with a bit bit of a song.
Wayne Fennell's in the chat.
Hey, Wayne. So I'm just going to finish this off with some Hampshire Sheen High Gloss. Then we'll get it turned round. Now, I haven't sanded the edges on this yet. I'll do that right at the end when the piece is a lot thinner. In fact, last week on Emma's show, it was a square dish she was doing, bigger than this, to fit the parking onto. And you always, as well, again, if you're doing any sort of polishing, anything like this, with the lathe running and it's square edged, do not, please do not use cloth. Use paper. You can probably see from this piece, the paper has started to tear, and that's what happens with the paper. If you use cloth, it's just going to get caught up in the corners and drag the piece of cloth into the lathe, and chances are it could drag you into the lathe as well. Right, I'm going to change chucks. I've actually made that tenon far too big. Not happy with that. Well, let's have a look.
Yay. Got a camera working.
Oh, very good. Right, bring the tool rest back up. Let's see how that's running. That's running fine. No, I've got either a moth or a butterfly flying about the shop. And now we're just going to dish this out now.
Okay, back in the room. Joy English is asking a question. What do you do with all the decorative pieces you make? I can't see you having enough room to show them all at your house. You would run out of wall space.
Right, all of the pieces. Right. I am a member of an arts and crafts cooperative here in Dumfries and Galloway. They have 3 shops on the go, one in Castle Douglas, one in Kirkcudbright, and another one in a town called Gatehouse of Fleet, which is a seasonal one in an old mill. So I have my work in 2 of the shops. I've got in the shop in Kirkcudbright and in Gatehouse of Fleet. I also sometimes put some of my work into the local art gallery, because they've got a craft shop in there as well. I do have an Etsy shop, but it's been years since I put anything in there. I must close that. I do a couple of fairs a year. I don't tend to do a lot of craft fairs. I got sickened by them back in the 90s, so I tend to do a couple of fairly big ones. One during the summer and one at Christmas time. So that's where I tend to get rid of my stuff.
Or Jamie buys them as practice pieces.
Yeah, or Jamie buys them as practice pieces. In fact, the one I did on Wednesday night, the water drop bowl, Scott, the Blue Light Turner's getting that one. We're doing a bit of a swap. He's sending me a load of you, and I'm sending him the bowl. Just going to straighten this top edge off.
David's asking, what's everyone up to the rest of the day? Martin Dickinson's replied, a flutterby, what kind of colour?
It's one of those orange and black ones. So I'm not very sure if it's a moth or a flutterby. And not far to go. Now what I'm trying to do on this is trying to get the wall thickness the same throughout.
The beard is in, Mr. Rich.
And Rich. David's in as well. Hi, David. That's okay, Rich. You did say last on Wednesday you were going to be busy anyway. Now, the reason I'm doing this like this, it maybe not so important on something this small, but if you leave wood in the center and you're doing something quite thin-edged, that gives some bulk so the outer edge won't flex and won't vibrate. If you start cleaning out the bowl from the center and then you get to the outside edge where you start cleaning it out, seeing as how you haven't got that bulk in the middle, you're going to get a lot of vibration at the edge. And the other thing is as well, if you're going to do a thin wall bowl, now, not necessarily on a square bowl, on a round one, if you're going to do a very thin walled bowl, do down, like I have there, around about an inch. Do down an inch, get your sanding done on it, and don't go back to it. Move further down, because once you've got this very thin, if you've made a mistake and you want to go back to it, you're going to get a hell of a lot of vibration, and you're probably going to spoil the piece.
John, as a further question, Wayne, do you ever make practical pieces to use around the house?
Do I ever what? Sorry. Do you ever make practical pieces for around the house? I have done. I've certainly made a few salad bowls and things like that. And I've certainly made numerous handles for things. See how that's looking. Yeah, I'll probably just take one more cut going from this ridge here, and that should be that done down to the centre part. See how that's looking. Yeah, that's not looking too bad.
Mike, the Midnight Joker's in.
Is that Mike in?
Mike's in, yep.
Yeah, Martin's saying there as well as the vibration, you could lose a corner because there's not a lot of strength there.
HS Bowden Designs is in. Harold Bowden. Morning,
hi,
Wayne.
Harold.
Nothing like watching a professional turner while having my morning coffee.
Thank you very much. There we are. Quickly do some sanding.
Tommy Dunn is in the chat.
Hi, Tommy. I'll just use the quickly give the edges a sand. Now I'm going to sand the inside to 400 because I am going to be putting some colour in. And there we are. Just give that a clean with some methylated spirits just to get rid of a lot of the dust.
Uh, 37 watching. 19 thumbs up, folks. If you like what Wayne's doing, please, please, please reach out, hit that thumbs up button. James is saying in the chat, I belong to a horticultural society as I have an interest in gardening. My turning includes items that appeal to gardeners and the like. I successfully sell the items at pop-up stalls at garden events.
Oh, very good. So you probably make lots of dibbers then.
Lots of things for poking in the soil and making holes. Owls and scoops, I would imagine. What else, James? What else do you make?
I don't know if my internet's acting up. Has the stream been okay?
Yeah, it's been absolutely fine, sir. I watch it. I watch it on YouTube at the same time. So
I've got two things on here. You're seeing the chat's been disconnected.
Chat. So I use the chat live and I look at the pop out for the chat. Chat's flowing fine, sir. The one in StreamYard I don't trust.
Martin's asking.
Missed so much. Exactly right.
Removing dust. Yes, Martin, I do. Right, I'm using Hampshire Sheen Stone Blue to colour this, and I'm just going to wipe it on. I like the Stone Blue because it's a hell of a lot lighter than obviously the Midnight Blue. I could use my air gun, but I thought I'd just wipe it on for a change. It's not often I do this. You do find though using an air gun, because this is ash and it's got quite a lot of open grain in ash, and using the airbrush, not air gun, using the airbrush, you actually get into the open grain a lot better.
James Cassidy has followed up. Round bird boxes, posh bug hotels, cane toppers, hedgehogs, of course, dibblers, big and Ben type fishermen.
Very good.
That might have been Bill and Ben type fishermen. Allows me to see the other items that I turn along the items that Wayne makes.
Right, what I'm going to do now is take this off. One of these days I must order a carving jig.
Yeah, they do look pretty sweet.
I'm going to take this off the lathe. Well, I think I've got some money coming from YouTube this month, so I think that's going to be the purchase.
How much, Charlie?
About 80 quid.
That's all right.
Right. Move that way. Move the camera up. Bring me stool in. Might as well be comfortable doing this. Pencil. Need a pencil. And I need my Dremel. Right, so all I'm going to do to start off with is just draw a fairly simple design on here.
I have 43 watching, so.
Oh, grand.
What are you doing there, Win?
I'm just drawing a very simple design, and this part here, all this part here, is now going to be textured. And then what I'm going to do after it's textured, I'm going to put on some gold leaf. So what I'm using for texturing is the rotary chisel. So that's what I'm going to be using for texturing, and it's just going to be random. Mind you, saying that, like I was talking to Dale about the other week, doing things that are random, they tend not to end up being random.
You know, when they say 1,000,000 to 1 chance they show up 1 in 10. John's suggesting the pencil may have been behind your ear.
I just find it so awkward using that rotary chisel sometimes. I think it's because of the way it's set up. So I'll use something different. This is a saber-tooth burr. It might look like a mess at the moment. That's because it is. Really, all I'm doing is roughing this up just for the gold leaf to go into.
Martin Dickinson out in the chat is suggesting try the cutting disc you used on the crochet.
I don't know if that'll work so well, Martin, to tell you the truth. It will definitely cut.
Joy's saying she's going to go. She's not feeling very well.
Oh,
And she'll catch up later.
Speak to you soon, no doubt. I'll have a go, Martin, and see how it works. Always open to suggestions when it comes to using these things. Have you seen the photos Andy put up this morning, Dale?
I was watching him doing the cutting last night.
All right.
For a little while, he was he was in the home straight, and we had a brief chat. It looks awesome. Really, really looks awesome. So far, it's a coup d'etat. You know, that pattern's starting to look a little bit like a crow. James Cassidy is saying, do not know what other clubs' view on texturing and colouring is. The club I belong to is still quite resistant to accepting this form of art. Still tends to like things round and brown.
Believe it or not, James, that used to be my thought until about 4 years ago. The only colouring I ever used to do on stuff was burning it. Then I changed my mind. Right, I think that's enough for that. Like I say, it was just to put a bit of texture there, just for the gold leaf to go on to. Just give that a quick blow off. That's what she said.
That's exactly where my head went, but I never said anything. I just left it there quiet.
Right, so what I'm going to do now is put on some gold leafing size.
What size is the size?
Yes. Exactly.
Fingers is saying, not sure, James. I don't go to any clubs. Ting saying, I still burn a lot of his. Martin saying, no need to move with the times. It's amazing how the general public like a bit of colour and a good shine. John's having a giggle. Young Fingers is saying, my best sellers is things with colour. Midnight Joker suggesting you've got thrush. Sorry, he's suggesting that it looks more like a thrush rather than a crow. And Real Ale is saying XXL. I might have missed the start of that. Mike's qualifying a thrush, not the thrush. Keith's in. Circulated by Keith. James, exactly the same with one I belong to. Most of the members are past retirement, so set in their ways.
Well, you see, whenever I do a demo and I'm doing colouring, and there's a lot of people there who like round and brown, I just ask if they've got any painted wood in the house or
That's a good
stained
point.
wood in the house. Because if people have got wooden furniture in the house, I can guarantee it's got stain on there. Absolutely guarantee it. Because furniture makers don't leave their furniture when they're making it. Furniture makers don't leave the furniture the natural colour of the wood. They always tend to put a stain on.
I think we have got only 2 pieces in the house that have a stain on them that aren't, because most of our furniture's, the wood furniture's oak. The whiskey cabinet, which is because it's of its period, if that makes sense. They tended to like the mahogany look, but they didn't make it from mahogany. And the writing desk's not true. The writing desk just, but the swim chair that we bought at the same time as the whiskey cabinet from an antiques place. It's definitely, I don't know what wood's on the bottom, but it isn't mahogany. And it's definitely stained. A customer bought a coloured bowl from me. It's off to Australia. Cool.
Now, there's no need to use a hot gun. I'm just doing that for speed rather than anything else. So all I'm going to do now is get some gold leaf. Try, if you're using gold leaf, try not to actually handle the leaf itself. Because if you put greasy finger marks on there, it won't stick.
Yeah, the camera rig fixed, thankfully. Glad I found it today before I tried to do it in a live. 10 minutes before the live. It's my fault, I broke it. Oh. So I think there's a few questions here. Donna's in. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Her furniture is made of oak. Living is coloured by made of oak. Living is coloured, but my bedroom is oak colour. Okay. Relio says have to do something with Sapili to make it interesting. Boom. Young Fingers is saying, where do you buy your gold leaf from, Wayne?
Oh, off the internet. Usually from China. Come on, stick down.
James Cassidy saying there are certain woods I would not like to colour or texture like cherry and yew because they're great in their own way.
Well, cherry, I've got to say I would colour. Yew, with you on yew, I don't think I've ever coloured yew. I know people who have.
Circular Wood by Keith is saying, I do find selling that it's under 50s that will go for the colour. Tommy Dunn says, I'm just on with my first coloured piece, a very punky bit of spalted birch. Not over sure of it at the moment. Donna, I agree with you. I love the colour of oak. I did a whole bunch of flat work when I built the house, and there's some properly huge pieces of oak in our house. The TV bench, for instance,
Now, what
is go on, sir.
if you can say it's not. I didn't specifically do this as a bird's head, right? Some of the gold leaf is basically stuck onto the top, and some of the textured wood is being left as wood. So I'm just going to put some sand and sand on.
Tom Wilcott's question: what type of string do you use when pulling acrylic paints? When?
Where have it here? I use wool. You can use, if you can get hold of some, if you want to pinch your wife's necklaces and things like this. Jewelry chain. Jewelry chain works really well. So there we are. I'll turn that around because it does look a bit like a head, I suppose. I'll let that dry. I'll probably stick a couple of coats of lacquer on there. I'm going to call that finished, by the way, guys. I'll let it dry for a wee while, put a couple of coats of lacquer on, and then take some photos. Probably get them up either this evening or tomorrow morning. So that's us. What do you think?
That looks awesome, mate.
Martin saying it's a bittern. I wouldn't know, Martin. I'm not too up on bird species.
It's an unladen swallow, Martin. Lots of good remarks flung past.
Grand, good. Again, I mean, I'm okay. I'm not the best person to use a Dremel and do this type of texture and stuff. There's people who can do it a hell of a lot better than me. There's people who can do gold leafing a million times better than me. But it's just to give you an idea of doing something different. You know, you don't have to do things exactly the way I'm doing them, and it's just to give you ideas of trying different things, so you're not just stuck with doing bowls, boxes, and candlesticks and things like that. Grand. Right, guys, I'm going to switch off there. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day if you're over in the States. Enjoy the rest of your evening if you're way down under. And no doubt I will speak to you soon. Bye for now, guys.
Hit the bloody button.